Hello everyone, Sean here, and we are looking at Dark Souls 2, and we're going to go over some of the spells that you could get in the new Dark Souls 2 DLC. There's only 4 of them, so there's not a whole lot, and they're fairly easy to find, with the exception of the one we're looking at. So if you do want to know exactly where to find it, make sure you check out the Dark Souls 2 wiki, where we have the exact info on where to go to find Walk a Piece. The other 3 spells are fairly simple. You pretty well walk by them as you're exploring these areas. They're not really that hidden. So let's go over Promised Walk a Piece first. Probably the most useless spell that's been added. And it is a dark, or it's a hex spell. So make sure you have Chime or some other casting tool to utilize that. But what it does, if you cast it on yourself, you will notice it has an AoE effect, first of all. And now my max movement speed has basically been slowed from a run to a fast-paced walk. And it does have an area of effect, so it would affect enemies if you hit it, but you can see it's very brief. I'm already back to my normal movement speed. I mean, could be very, very situational uses for this spell, but otherwise I really don't know what you would use it for. The next one is going to be, I don't have the proper thing equipped. Give me 1 second. I really need to dump my inventory, as you guys are seeing. Alright, the next one is Denial. So this is a strictly faith spell. You need a bunch of faith to cast this, but it's a very good spell. If you just cast it on yourself here, boom, there we go. And you'll see the buff is kind of that dark black and gray icon up in your buff bar location. And what Denial does is it makes it so you can't die. So if I took terminal damage, if I went to 0 health, my character would fall over. Oh, I fell over. And I would get back up again, but I still have 0 health. Denial does not heal you. It just prevents the death from happening. So you'll stand back up. And if you're poisoned or something and the poison's still ticking, it will then kill you. But if you take, say, if you're fighting King Vendrick, he swings that sword of his that does just ludicrous amounts of damage, hits you, knocks you down, you'll now be able to get back up. You're at 0 health, but if you can roll away, if you can get to if you're like me and you can roll off the edge, obviously rolling off the edge, Denial does not prevent this death. But if you can roll away, get some health back, Denial will have saved your life. And once I've respawned from that little incident, now that I'm hollow, oh gee, I love being hollowed out. So that's Denial. The next one is Focus Souls. So let's grab our Intelligence Staff, go up here, gonna grab all those 100,000 souls I just dropped. Focus Souls is a high intelligence spell, and I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Let's fire it off here. So it literally just fires some soul laser beams in a straight line. It does pretty good damage, but you only have 3 casts of it. It's kind of like the Sunlight Spear version, but for intelligence characters. So it's pretty good. Just keep in mind that you can see the distance isn't that great. It only comes to about here or so. So it's not that far. You do need to be somewhat close. It's not like Great Lightning Spear, which seems to travel, hundreds and hundreds of yards. This will not go that far, but it is a pretty powerful spell nonetheless. Now let's, real quick, we got to run back. I don't have enough attunement slots to actually equip all 4 spells. Let's grab this last one here. And this is Dark Greatsword. And you can see this bad boy takes a lot of intelligence to cast, 55. And it also has 29 faith. You can use staff to cast this one, though. Some hexes, I mean, if you've been playing Dark Souls, you're well aware of this, that hexes have different requirements. Some need staff, some need chime, blah, blah, blah. So this one needs a staff. And this is a very straightforward spell. A Dark Greatsword. It's virtually the exact same as the Magic Greatsword that intelligence casters can use, except for this one's a dark version. And you can see this one has a bit of a projectile it shoots forward. So not only will you have the initial hit from the sword, but you can also have that projectile hit characters off in the distance. It's a very good spell, but as you can see, I have 45 attunement and you only have 4 casts of this spell, so you don't get too many casts. It might be a spell that you want to use. If you plan to use it a lot, you'll have to run through maybe a New Game Plus or a Bonfire Ascetic. That way you can at least get a double stack of this spell. And real quick, I'll show you the stat requirements of these. So Focus Souls, 2 attunements, 60 intelligence. So that's hefty on the intelligence. Denial, 3 slots, 24 faith. Not quite as bad, but still a fair bit of faith. Your average melee character might have to bump his faith up some points to use that, but I highly suggest, even if you are not a faith character, try to get 24 faith and use Denial. Or, of course, you can always use the spices to lower the faith requirement down to a more suitable level for you. Dark Greatsword we went over. 2 attunement, 55 intelligence, 29 faith, and then Walk a Piece. 2 attunement, 30 intelligence, 40 faith. So there you go. These are the 4 new spells from the DLC. I think the Dark Greatsword and Denial are my personal favorites because they are just... Dark Greatsword's a very good spell. Fast casting, has range, does decent damage. And then Denial, I mean, I've made use of Denial several times already in the DLC. It is... I can't say enough good things about that spell. But there you go. That is it. I hope this gave you some ideas about the different spells, and of course, if you do want more information on them, check out the Dark Souls 2 wiki. I thank you for watching, and we'll see everyone next time.